welcome to my channel. We are back with Fiona. It's when you were beginning again, starting over, whatever verbiage feels good to you to be like, oh, here we are again. Okay, so Fiona had some wonderful things she wanted to talk about and bring up with protection. And I'm really excited because she put a lot of thought and consideration into what else could be added to this conversation. And I love this so much because it feels like such a warm, like snuggly, comprehensive feel. Because when you're starting over, the fear sometimes feels very vague and it can feel disorienting and it can feel like you don't know what to do with it. And so I feel like this whole conversation that we've been having about protection and like what does it look like to find safety on the inside when you're going through changes and something's changing in your environment or your life or you are starting from ground zero and building again. How important this conversation is. So Fiona Kent.
That's me.
Yes.
Well, I'd like to add on to that. It's like even when you think you're not ready for change, but you're absolutely sick to death of
Mm,
something little happening in your life, that is the predictable thing. You just know it's just going to happen again. And you're just like, why is this happening to me? I just don't want this to happen again. It could be something almost small that you can change.
mm,
And then the magic of seeing that change just gives you that boost of like, I can do this again. So a few years ago, I was introduced to Amy Jo Ellis, who has a Facebook group called Court of Atonement. And I just explored my way around there. And she keeps talking about work on yourself first, work on your beliefs. And then as a few months in, she was talking about this time jumping thing. And in this time jumping, it's about the way she was putting it out for us to practice was you think about an event that had happened in the past that you just didn't like, and you go through this process to change the result to a one that you did like, so that your memory is of a good memory, and so your body and your cells in your body remember something good. So there was this one night where my husband was at a doctor's appointment about 50 minutes from home, 40 minutes drive from home. And it was about 50 minutes before he was due home. And I know that he was tired, he was anxious, he was, like he was probably in pain, bound to be in pain from after this appointment. But he has a routine that he always rings me, which is lovely. Like he always rings me, always texts me. He's like
mm,
always there, which is lovely. And I know in these situations, because I knew I was tired and had a million things on my brain and trying to get everything done and make it all last for when he walked in the door. And it was one of those moments where it was like the fire needed to be lit and the pets needed to be fed and dinner needed to be made and all sorts of things needed to be done, in that sort of sunset hour where you're trying to get everything done. And I just thought, I just don't have it in me to go through one of those conversations and it's likely to flare up into something ugly. And I just don't want that. I just don't want another one of those ugly conversations. And then I don't want him to walk in the door and it turn into another ugly conversation because all the ingredients were here at that point in time showing me that it was going to be that ugly moment. And I'm like, I don't want that. I really
mm,
don't want that. And then I thought, what if I tried Amy Jo Ellis's idea of time jumping? So I did. But instead of doing it in the past, I put it to the future. And at that
mm,
point of my understanding, I didn't understand that time was irrelevant. Like humans put a lineage on, like a sequence in time, whereas energy and spirit don't as such. So I thought, right, what can I do? I'm going to have a try. So in her practices, she talks about where you pretend to, as a ghost figure, you jump in front of the person or the thing and say, no, don't do whatever you were going to do it like this. And she even talks about threatening really aggressive, grievous bodily harm to these people when you're being the ghost. But I don't feel comfortable doing that. So I don't, but I do like speak quite sternly and go, no, don't say it like that. Say it like this. Don't say that because she really hates that. Do not do it. Say it like this. And I did that through my predicted phone conversation, and every sort of word that he went to in my mind and in my imagination, I kept changing what he was going to say, because that's routine and predictable, to what I wanted it to be.
Mm.
Then I kept washing the dishes and thought, oh, okay. Phone rings. He speaks to me verbatim how I had asked him to speak to me in my time jumping. Oh, wow. Look what just happened. Well, that was cool. That was a relief.
I bet. That's
Oh,
cool.
actually, I wonder if when he walks in the door, if he's going to go back to his old ways. So then that's when I did the time jumping as walking through the front door.
Mm.
And I did it again. And I imagined that I was like, he barely even got the door open and he was just trying to get in the door, and I'm standing in front of him and going, no, stop. Don't say, I know you're going to say this, but don't say it. Don't you dare say it. Say this instead. And I think in my imagination, in my recollection of my little conversation with myself at the kitchen sink, I actually totally changed my voice as well. I was like, from the to the, no, speak like this. Like I had both things. Sure enough, he pulls up, walks in the front door, speaks to me, word perfectly, how I'd asked him to in my
So
time
cool.
jumping. So, with that said, going back in another episode when we were talking about, like, when can you ask for protection? You can ask for protection in so many different ways. And there are times when you just want something not to repeat itself. You want to be
Yes.
able to start over
Yes.
again.
It's true.
You just don't want, it might be a situation where, your partner's gone out and they're going to have a few drinks, and you know the pattern of when they get home, how it's going to unfold, and you're just like, I don't want that. I don't want that pattern tonight. I don't want that pattern today. I want to change it. So there's ways to do it. Have a try, reach out. I'll help you get in contact with people that can help you if you want to try it,
There's
because it's
something I
really
wanted
magical.
Yeah, so something I wanted to share with, because you mentioned this in a little bit, and my own experience is that I have been stuck in a dark place a long time. And my belief system, it's like my nervous system got so ingrained in doubt that it has been running this show without my conscious consent. Like it's like a machine running itself, or like a really like just really. And I think it's important because we're all at different places in our journey, and there's people that are way worse than I've ever been in my life, and there's people that have never been in that place, and it's like there's no shame anywhere in this. I mean, sure there could be, but shame is a
Only
topic for another
if you want to
episode.
accept the shame. There's only
Right,
shame if you
right.
choose to
Like,
accept.
it doesn't matter where you are, you can begin to change things. And for me, like I started trying to do things similar to what you were talking with the time jumping. It was a very different exercise, but it was the same general gist of like imagine your future self. And I felt so beat down that I could not imagine a positive future. I couldn't like it. And to try to do that felt like I was gaslighting myself. Um, and I want to mention this not as like a, oh, poor me, or like to dwell, but to acknowledge that it's something that can happen, because like a lot of people that are really good at affirming and manifesting are just like, just do it. And like they, like when you get out of it, you forget how bad the stuck can be. My brother in the early aughts was in the military, and we live out by the Bonneville Salt Flats, which are really known for, like, speedway racing, like, some of the fastest speeds in the world, and there's areas out there that if you get a vehicle stuck, it's really hard to unstick it, and I remember he had one weekend where he had to go out there and get a Humvee, like, a military Humvee, stuck and unstick it. And I think of that because I'm like, I find the Humvee so relatable right now. I am the Humvee that you cannot get out. And it's like Humvees are not made to get stuck. They're made to handle everything. And so I wanna put that out there because it's like, if you're in that space, other people's help can change everything. And honestly, like, it's not about protection, it's about clearing. It's about clearing the stuck energy because it gets stuck in your system. It gets stuck in your physical like, it does get stuck in your physical body, like, that's where a lot of, immuno oh my gosh, like, autoimmune diseases are from rage that's been suppressed. Like, there's studies. I could find studies on that. I'm not just making that up. But, like, it gets stuck in your etherical body, so it's like, "Ooh, it's gonna hang around my head right here." Um, and since we started these episodes, I have really upped my clearing, and I am amazed at how much stuff has been stuck. That it just got like, "Oh, well, that's just the normal." No, it's not the normal. It's the normal because I normalized it. And, but, like, clearing that on my own is enormously difficult. So it's like when having somebody like Fiona who can just clear, like, really big, really easily. I mean, for the I don't know if it's easy on her because she might gag, but, like, if you're feeling like, I don't know what you're talking about," and that, like, "Oh, I just wish I could do that. You're foolish." Um, you might need some energy clearing. No judgment. Like, if your protection's not working, you gotta clear some of the old stuff out first. And there is mindset work that might show up, like maybe you have to learn how to trust, but it's really hard to learn to trust when you've got like this calcified, like hardened energy of antitrust or like not trusting the universe or whatever. Like clearing that, it's almost like if you're a hoarder, like it's really hard to be like, well, I'm gonna vacuum the floor. You can't vacuum the floor when it's full of stuff. You got to clear the stuff before you can vacuum the floor. So, like, I'm just saying, if you have an emotional hoard, even if you're not like, if you feel like things don't move easily, you have an emotional hoard. And that's where energy clearing can make a big difference before you like tack on all kinds of protections. Cause then you're just you could end up just adding to the hoard, which isn't helpful. Oh my
Yes,
God.
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes. And so, that was a lot.
Did I clear some things for you? Did I clear
Ah,
some things for someone?
hopefully, hopefully, hopefully you did. I agree. And I think going back to that moment when I shared that about that moment about my protection,
Mhm.
time jumping, I was in a space where I was really working on my beliefs.
Mm,
I didn't really understand what I was doing to like what the benefits were of me doing that. I didn't really fully understand. I guess I had this kind of trust that, well, it's not going to hurt me. What could be the worst outcome? There isn't a worst outcome. It can only get better. Um, and I just had a go at trying to do this work on my beliefs, and it was really hard work for me because me being me, I wanted to say exactly the right thing. I wanted to do it in exactly the right sequence, and I wanted to do it perfectly. And so that was really hard for me to do, and it was hard for me to follow. And I kept asking people, "Well, what am I meant to say?" And they're like, "Oh, well, just whatever comes to your mind." I'm like, "Oh, that's not helping me." um, but the reality is,
yeah.
there is no wrong, and you can say it just exactly how it comes out, and you can stumble and fumble your way through. And true, there are some ways that you can say it, and it will be more slick and maybe faster. But to get to that point, you have to work through the ugly because you don't become an Olympic athlete running a marathon, the first day you take a step as a toddler, as a little crawling baby.
It's true.
Here, you have a lot of get up, sit down, think about it, get up, sit down, think about it, fall over, face plant. There's a lot that happens before you're that Olympic athlete taking home a gold medal. So I just went, okay, so I'm just plodding along, mowing it away and having a go. And little by little, I've got to this point where you've seen my journey. You've seen where I was a long time
Mhm.
ago, 3
Well,
years
and
ago.
your journey is still unfolding. Like, I feel like I know the
Absolutely.
backstory, so it's like the behind the scenes, but I feel like you're also about to jump into your golden era. So, like, yes, I've seen your journey, and the journey that's ahead is even more exciting. What would you say to somebody who's like, "Oh, well, that sounds great, but if it's, like, step by step, I need everything fixed now. I don't really have the discipline to, like, stick to something." Because it's like being an Olympic athlete, I don't have that kind of discipline.
Um, I don't have to be an Olympic athlete, but I can run a few kilometers
Mm,
and I
mhm.
can do that without falling over. Yes, I talked about my face planting incident in one of these episodes, but I was walking, yeah, after a lot of drinks. But what I'm saying is that we can still be successful, but
Yeah,
we have to practice it. And there's no right way. If you watched a child learn to crawl, they all learn to crawl slightly differently. Have you watched a child learn to walk? Yeah, there's some kind of similarities, but we all do it a bit differently. Apparently, I learnt to walk with a broken collarbone. So, that's not the most, prescribed way to learn to walk.
how did you break your
So
collarbone as a kid? Because it's like kids are a little more rubbery, like, they're it's a lot easier to break your bones when you're older. How did you break your collarbone?
I'm going on what my mother told me. I was 8 months old. She got me out of my cot, and I'd just started learning to crawl. She got me
Mm,
out of my cot, put me on the bed, and said to my father, "Watch her, I need to go to the toilet." Then she heard an almighty screech, because
mm.
I had crawled off the bed, and there would be
Yeah,
the
I
8-month-old with a broken collarbone. But my poor mother, she was the local doctor.
your mom's a doctor? That's cool,
She
I
was
didn't know
the
that.
local doctor in the community, so
Huh.
yeah, the local doctor's kid's got a broken collarbone. Can happen to anybody.
Yeah, well, stuff happens. Kids are wild sometimes. You take your eyes off them for just a few seconds, and you don't
So
know what
maybe I
always
had
is gonna happen.
I know, so maybe I was just born with this adventurous streak that I'll just test that.
That'll be
Try
fun.
it out.
I'll break my collarbone before I ever even walk. That sounds fun.
I'll just crawl off the edge of the bed. Yeah,
Wow,
so she said she watched me learn to crawl. Like, apparently I was whingy and whiny for a couple of days, and
to be
frustrated because I couldn't
expected.
get anywhere and I was probably in a bit of pain. Um, and then she said one lunchtime while she was having her sandwich for lunch, she watched me learn to walk.
Like,
Just
you just
I
got
think it
up
was
and
just out of
walked.
frustration. Yeah.
I'm
I just
done with
used my
not
little
walking. Yeah, I mean,
done
that
with
actually checks out.
this.
I'm gonna make this work the first time. Fiona.
And
Maybe a softer
really,
voice, but
I think that's what happened that day at the kitchen sink. It's like, I don't want this anymore. I'm going to change it. I want to make something else work for me. And I did.
love it. Okay, I feel like I know it's a little shorter than some of the other episodes, but I love the practical steps as far as like what you kind of went over with the future timeline jumping. And like you said, there's lots of ways to do things, and there's endless amounts of tools. Like even on YouTube, there's a lot of ways to do things. Um, and there's always like there's people that can help. Like we can help, other people can help. Like there's options. So Um, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Because I really like this, and I like that it's a little more capsule sized, so I'd like to wrap it up if you feel good about that, and
I just say, if you don't like what's happening, there's a way to change it so that it
Mhm.
doesn't happen like that again.
I like that you mentioned this is my own little personal aside. I really like that you mentioned it was something that it wasn't like do or die. Like, it wasn't, like, life-threatening. It was just an annoyance and another like, that you've been through countless times that you didn't wanna have to go through again. You didn't wanna have another one of those conversations, and it's like, oh, like, sometimes when things repeat over and over again, it's like, "Oh, this again." Like, the idea of being able to stop some of those little annoyances is so encouraging because it's like, you just get tired of it. So,
And from little
yeah,
things,
I'm
big things
definitely
grow. From little things, big things grow. You stop that
Mhm.
little annoyance, stop another little one and another one. And I'm just protecting myself in that whole way. Like, I don't want that anymore. I don't want that one. And so when you get rid of one negative emotion out of yourself, you, in saying no to it, you're providing an opportunity for a yes and something positive.
Yes. Yes, you are. That's true. Everyone's my fave. Okay. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.